Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him. And I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on cam last year, we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer, right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent the combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked Homie one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special to me.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
This is the Whitetail Legacy Podcast with a hell of noise in the background. I had to scrape Homie's balls off this chair in here. It's so cold in the studio.
That was the beard ruffle you heard at the beginning, Cody's giant beard on there.
Yeah, my bad. Just going in close to the mic, but used the veteran broadhead, scalpeled that thing right off the seat. But it's cold here in Illinois. We need it, though. We need some cold weather to get these bucks moving. It's been absolutely crap out there for big deer movement anyways, but we're not giving up. Still out of season. We still have a lot of game plans for late season, but we're going to get into the people that make this possible, and then we're going to get into the show. It's going to be me and Homie this episode. Then we got a gang and lineup of stuff coming on, but we wanted to get this episode out to you guys and talk about targeting the Pacific buck and the pros and cons, and should you do it, and if you do it, what you should expect. It seems simple early in the year, but it's definitely more complex at the end of the season if stuff don't work out.
Yeah.
So let's get into people that make this possible. Do you have the veteran shout out?
Yeah, this week's shout out is going to be Blake Shipman. Blake is currently serving in the Navy, and Blake was turned on to the podcast from his dad. So Blake, we appreciate you and your dad Greg listening there. Greg, appreciate you letting Blake sign up and serve this country.
All right. I got Hunt Reminder, huntreminder.com. Remember, guys, it's $14.99, but if you use our discount code, Legacy, all caps, you get $5 off. So that's $9.99 a year for this. And if you're a hunter out there that's hunting multiple states, or you have a point system that you want to look up for, or you want to next year, like Ben in our Snapchat group, that guy's hunting 5 different states for whitetail and then 3 or 4 for turkey, and that shit would get confusing as hell. And I want to get an Iowa point this year so I can go next year, and I want to go to Kentucky, but I want to make sure I get, maybe I want muzzleloader tags and, archery tags, and you're looking at like 10, 15 tags. Mm-hmm. That would be confusing as hell. And this is like, you get a list of what you got already, and then it won't remind you, you know what I mean? And then you get the link that says, okay, muzzleloader in Kentucky. You're like, oh, shit, I didn't get that, and then, boom, you got it, you know what I mean? So pretty cool. For less than $1 a month, you can have a reminder system that will really help you out and let you know when stuff's available, because like our CBD hunt coming up, when the tags are gone, the tags are gone. You know what I mean? Or if you miss a deadline, you miss a deadline, you're not going to be able to hunt that year. So, all right, do you have Exodus?
Yeah, for Exodus here, this week I want to get into the Exodus Render, which is their cell cam. I just want to go over some of the options that they have in their settings for that.
I talked to a guy, and he didn't even know Exodus had a cell cam.
Really?
I was like, Yeah, they got they got a cell cam. It's
They
pretty
got
solid.
a baller cell
Yeah.
cam.
So
So I just feel like that they offer a lot of setting changes with this cell cam. Their image size can go from 3 all the way up to 12 megapixels. Burst count from 1 to 9. 9 shot burst, which I think is incredible. And then your trigger delay can go from 1 minute all the way down to 1 second. So that is incredible diversity there. If you're,
I was blown away when I walked by it on Sunday.
oh yeah,
And then my phone was vibrating like right when I was
Yeah.
I was like, jeez. And then it got 6 pics of me. I was like, this thing is ripping right now.
So I know we've all been, caught by deer standing there and just getting, does, or if you got it over a feed side or whatever you got going, this render is, pretty diverse to be able to put it anywhere and fit the needs that you need it
It's
to
nice
do.
that like if you are in a state and you can bait and you got it set on like 30-second delay and then you're like, shit, I'm getting like 900 pictures of this doe. You can literally go 1 minute delay, 1 shot burst.
Yeah.
Wait until that doe leaves and then change it back to the other setting. You know what I mean? So that's pretty nice to have that.
And one thing that I overlooked, which looking at this here the last couple weeks, is the operating hours interval. You can set your cam, like if you get sun pics or something, or a bunch of grass pics on a windy day, you can literally come in here and say, hey, from 2 p.m. in the afternoon to 5 p.m., don't do anything. So I think that's a
That's
very
cool,
good
yeah.
option.
Definitely save some batteries.
Save some data,
because
save your batteries.
yeah, man. And you run as many trail cameras as we ran this year. The batteries that's the sleeper.
That kills you.
That is the sleeper.
So you can get all that into the Exodus render, and it's all backed up with a 5-year no BS warranty.
Yeah, no, that's what the guy was blown away by. I told him, and I said, yeah, we got a couple pretty solid. And I said 5-year warranty. He's like, 5 years on a cell cam? I said, yeah, 5 years on a cell cam. So you're guaranteed to have a cell cam for 5 years. So that's pretty solid. All right, well, let's get into the show. So you guys have heard the name 1,000 times, Magnum PI, just like when we were hunting freeze. We chose to pretty much dedicate our season to finding this deer, hunting this deer, and it's a tough choice to make. It seems easy. You got a giant out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
A 190 class deer. Of course you're gonna go
In
after
May,
him.
you're like, oh, I'm geared up. I'm ready to go.
Of course you're gonna go after him,
Yeah.
right? But after going after him all year, we did encounter him. You know what I mean? We had a really close encounter to where, man, if he would have committed to a grunt, he'd be dead. He would have committed to a snort wheeze, he'd be dead. You know what I mean? And if he was 15 more yards, he would have been dead. You know what I mean? Like 15 yards in archery is a long ways, but in the woods, it ain't shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's him taking a left 5 steps before he did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 3 trails for him to pick, and he picked the third furthest trail. You know what I mean? So that's how close he was. But how do you want to start this? I think you should start off with like whether you want to do it or not, and then we can go into the pros and cons of what we got. Because I think there's some certain stuff that you should think about at the very beginning before we even go into the pros and cons of like what I got to do, what I don't have to do. I think that, and I don't know what your opinion is on this, but if say you had a giant, okay, I'm gonna try. Let's say that the buck that came through during shotgun season, you had a trail cam picture of that deer. You had a set of 3 in October 3rd, okay? And then you had no more pictures of that deer. That being a 180 class deer that you don't have a lot of history with, would you dedicate your October to hunt that deer off of that one set of trail cam pics? Because I feel like this is where a lot of people get caught. They get one giant on cam, right? Mm-hmm. And they get him like hitting a scrape or he's coming through an area and they get this giant buck and they pull the cam. They're like, shit, look at this. And they're thinking about, they have no idea who this buck is. He's just some giant that showed up. And then is those 3 pictures, is that enough for you to make a move in October? And for me, it is. Like if I get 3 pictures, I'm going to make a move. I'm going to try to get on that deer if I think it's possible. But what do you think?
I'm saying it's worth at least a couple weeks being in the area, making a move, trying to figure out what he's doing on cam, where he's going, why is he there. The biggest thing is, where's he going?
Yeah.
And where did he come from?
So would you say that's on your private, but say that you have a solid buck on public land that you think that you could go in and kill 50-50 shot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he's a 130. What are you doing then? I feel like I'm still probably going to give it a little while on the big one because it's so early in the year.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where you mess up.
Yeah, I feel like I might not give it the full 2 weeks. I'll say I'm going to give it the full 2 weeks, but probably, like, say you get that picture on Sunday, probably about Wednesday, I'm going to be thinking about hunting the weekend. I'm probably going to throw the Friday night hunt at the big one. And then Saturday, I'm just going to be like, yeah, and all situational on the weather and all that bullshit. But
we're just saying,
yeah, straight across the board. Then I'm probably going to go back because now, I mean, you're already 2 weeks gone. You're an eighth of the way through. You know?
So that's what we did. I used stuff that wouldn't connect anything, but that's what we did this year. Found a giant on public. We had bucks on the private, solid bucks on the private that we probably could have killed if we would have hunted them harder. But we went after the giant, the random-ass giant that we had 2 sets of trail cam pictures off of, and that's it. You know what I mean? So we banked a lot of hunts off 2 sets of trail cam pictures.
We had 4 sets. We had him going the one in velvet, obviously, and then we had him going in and out next time. And then we had him on the 15th and the 25th.
Nothing in season, though.
Nothing in season.
Yeah, nothing in season.
Nothing in season.
So I was talking about the 2 off the last card.
Oh,
pool.
yeah, okay,
That's
I got you.
The hard horn.
Yeah.
Velvet is, if it's in velvet, it's don't even count. Like, I'm not hanging any cams till, like, August. Like, middle of August, late August. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing with the batteries and the grass and all the shit early in the year. It ain't worth it. We lose too many deer. But anyways, we went off of 2 hard horn picks of that deer in the area, and we went in there 5-6 times after him. And it is insanely hard to get into.
Yeah, it is.
So you're banking. You got 2 trail cam pictures of him not in season, but before season hard horn. You think he's in the area. You think you figure out where he's living. You go in there. You don't see him, and then it always goes back to, it was just shit. It was a little warm. Or you're always making excuses of why that buck is still there. There's always some reason you didn't see him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, shit, maybe I need to access a different way. But you got bucks on the private ground that you could probably potentially kill if you would go sit there. And you know that. But they're not a 190 class typical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the risk that you get when you decide that you're going to go after these giant deer.
And this situation we're talking about, there's no other buck.
Yeah.
The buck you ended up shooting was there.
There's no other, shit, a deer might come through here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not going to see 5 deer.
Yeah.
You're going to see a doe and that buck.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it.
And you go to the private, we had 3 shooters that were there right on the edge of dark, and then we had that day the day that you went out in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you would have been on the private, that front was coming in. It was cold. You could have got in and out easy as shit. You wouldn't have got soaked.
Right.
But you risk it to go in back door on him. That was like the 3rd time we went after him. You know what I mean? So it's like it's hard to choose what the hell you got, where your priority is, and I feel like that's what happens to a lot of guys. They get the picture of a giant, you get a 3-shot burst of them on a scrape, and you're like, holy shit. And maybe you're a guy that has 3 properties to hunt, and then you just not taking public out of it, and then you just X out the other 2 properties. Like, I'm putting 10 sets on this property. The first 3 weeks of season, I'm going in after this deer. What a guy should do is run a mobile cam. If the deer's there, hunt the deer. If the deer's not there, go hunt where the deer are.
Where deer are.
Yeah, don't go after the mythical creature that you got on cam once or twice. Go where your other mobile cam's on fire, pretty much, instead of going in and going after a giant. But the giants just rope you in. They have like this lure about them where you're just do 10 times the amount of work because it's your.
You just put the blinders on.
You would be absolutely jacked to kill Chaos. He's like a 150.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just absolutely jacked as hell. But you're just like, nope, he's gone. He might as well be dead already because I'm not hunting him. You know what I mean? So your common sense hunting is out the window. And that's something I need to get better at instead of how can we what am I going to do to kill this deer? I need to look at the grand picture of all my shit and say, okay, I got a 30% chance here. I got a 50% chance, and I just got to go with the odds instead of going with the magic. You know, you're just like, well, what if? What if he comes out? You know what I mean?
And I will say you are that guy. Just like, I don't know, man. He could.
Yeah,
he could.
I'm a sucker for that.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
you
Like,
get all the time. That's all you say. Well, he could be right here.
Yeah.
Pop out 20-yard shot.
Yeah.
Dragging him at the truck at 4 a.m.
I'm an high optimist. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
very.
Shit can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always have a positive outlook on shit, and then that's why I always come up with some excuse like, shit, the wind swirled that one time. You know, I mean, like there's something always. And it's funny to talk about, but it's the freaking truth of what happens out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're sitting there, you're like, oh, he could come at any second, and then the wind swirled. You're like, oh, maybe not. And then you're like, well, if the wind didn't swirl and it was 5 degrees cooler, I probably would have seen him. You know what I mean? So
You're like, well, I know he's here because he was on cam. I know he was here. He's on cam.
Yeah.
Even though it's 12 days ago, he's here.
He's here. He's in there. He's in there. There's nowhere else he could be in
No.
this 3,000 acres. He's got to be in there.
No way that deer's 3 miles away.
Yeah,
No way.
No way. But that's something I think you need to look at right from the start. Think about what your odds are killing this deer. And then if you know the odds are low, you can make a better decision whether you want to just absolutely risk going in there and being like, okay, I know I'm missing my chances over here, but this buck is worth it. Then you already make that conclusion at the beginning of the hunt instead of after you've hunted the deer all year and you weren't successful. Then you're like, well, shit, I should have. But if you already made that decision early, like, okay, this is what I'm doing. After you looked at all the stuff, you're already okay with not killing that other deer. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you're going to target a buck exclusively and put time on him, you need to be okay with missing opportunities on other deer. Other farms. And Chaos, we've been hunting him 3 years. It'd be super solid to kill that deer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was just some random buck. We had no idea, but he was a big, and people say once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To me, a 190 typical, that frame is a once in a lifetime deer. So you got to decide, okay, am I going after the once in a lifetime, or am I going after the buck that I think I could kill? That got 3 years of history. That'd be really solid. That I already thought I killed last year during chuck season, but it's a different buck. You know what I mean? Like you gotta make a decision, and I just want to get that out there. So if you're on the fence of what you like next year, you're getting the cams out, you get that picture. Look at all your odds before you go out. All right, after saying all that, we're going to get into the pros and cons. And for people that, target one buck all year, this is probably something that you guys do. But a lot of our listeners that we've been talking to recently have been messaging us, and they're just starting to hunt bigger deer, it seems like. There's a lot of guys that are just trying to get into it. Maybe they got one good buck down, and that gave them the jump to want to try to get more. And I feel like that's the people that listen to podcasts a lot because they're wanting to get that knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is for the guys, that do this, and then also for the guys, you got no bucks down, you got one buck down, but you want to kill a solid buck. You got some bucks on cam. You're thinking about targeting. Go ahead and hit them with some pros, homie. You got a list there.
It's one buck. Like, hopefully when you see that deer that you're targeting, that you're going to know it's him. You're not spending, 20 seconds as he's coming through the timber trying to get a gauge on him if he's a shooter or not. Like, it's one deer. You've probably had him on cam. You've looked at him. You looked at the pictures 100 times, and you hopefully know what he looks like, and it's just ingrained in your brain. And So hopefully when you see him, it's just done deal. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like this is a huge pro because it being one buck, you got one area you're hunting him. You can put if you've decided that this is what you're going to do, you can put all your eggs in there and say, okay, I'm putting all my cameras in here. I'm going to make my sets here. There's way less decision making, and it seems like decision making is very hard for us to do. That's like something that we struggle.
Decision making for what?
Like to where to set, what buck to go after.
Yeah.
What's our odds over here? You know what I mean? When you're dedicated to one buck, that's all out the window. You know where you're hunting. You know what you got. You know the area you're hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're doing this because he did this last year or something. You know what I mean? Where you're not like, well, just like me. Well, we could go to the north. We don't know what's going on up there. We could go over here. We could go back to the south. We could hunt the bottom. We could hunt the top. Like, you got stands, but even if you have a 200-acre piece, you only got them on cam in one area, you're not going to go hunt the other side of the farm. You know what I mean? And try to think to kill it. You got an idea where you're going, and you could put more of your assets in that area, just like we did with Magnum. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like we did the buck early. We put a lot of assets over there.
Oh, yeah.
To see if we could get on them again. You know what I mean? And we didn't end up getting on them again. And that was just another one of those bucks that was there and then vanished when season starts. You know what I mean? That's that property. We know now.
Yeah.
But same thing, when Magnum showed back up, we put all our assets there. You know what I mean? And I think that's a pro because some of the decision making is gone, and then you have a better chance of getting pictures and getting intel. Maybe not killing that deer, but you're learning if you have all the assets there instead of you're like, well, I'm not real sure. I'm going to run a couple cams here, but I'm also going to run cams on 3 other properties to make sure I have a backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
The next one is something that we can definitely relate to on freeze, is just when you get it done, that feeling of accomplishment. When you do hopefully shoot your target buck, that feeling that you get is why you want to target deer. It's what drives you. And that feeling is not able to be reproduced yet, other than shooting your target deer.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, you work to kill a deer all year, but when you work to kill the deer all year, it's just a different level
it is.
You're like, I'm going to kill you go from I'm going to kill a nice buck to I'm going to kill this buck, and then your brain's intertwined, and you think about this deer when you're waking up in the morning, and you think about him when you're going to sleep. You think about him on the drive to work. How many times I call you like, hey, I got this idea. I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
What about this? You know what I mean? Like, just because we're always thinking about what you could do. You know what I mean? And you could do that with multiple deer, but when you get wrapped up with one, the feeling of accomplishment, like you said, after you shoot it's a whole nother level. Just like my Missouri deer. I was like, it's cool, but it wasn't like, and like the buck I shot on public this year, it was cool, but I'm after that. This is a buck that I'm targeting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you want that top 1 or 2 deer.
Yeah.
You've put all the work in to basically get down.
You get the random buck that just comes through and you shoot them.
Yeah.
I just feel like the skill level isn't as much as I targeted this deer. I'm in the area, and he might have just walked by that area randomly, but you still put the work in. The buck I killed, we got trail cam video of him a mile and a half away. You know what I mean? Like, there was no targeting that deer. There was you just another deer. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't even on the Richter. You know what I mean? So, but when you come in at that point, you're like, well, I'm opportunist. I'm gonna take it what I can get. You know what I mean? So, it's just not the same. When once you kill, I killed homie, or I killed homie, axed him. I killed homeboy, and then I killed a 9-pointer, and then I killed freeze. You're like, you're Matt. Okay, I'm targeting this deer. I'm gonna kill him. I'm targeting this deer. I'm gonna kill him. And then you do it 3 times in a row. You're like, that's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then shit don't work out. You know what I mean? So that's what you want.
That is
Yeah.
the pinnacle.
Yeah,
It is the
so.
pinnacle. So the next one is you had just briefly covered it, is you kind of get to put that little feather in your hat that you kind of know what you're doing a little bit deer hunting. You outsmarted this buck. You got in front of him, and whether it was, just like Cody said, whether it was because you went to this stand because of this wind, the way the wind's blowing, or you're hunting doe bedding in the rut. Like, I mean, there's numerous options.
There's a calculated reason you're there.
Yeah, there's something calculated involved, and you're able to get it done. So just kind of a little tip there to make you keep hunting and trying to target deer.
Yeah, I feel like me and you are the same, and a lot of people, especially with social media and stuff, they try to be better than other hunters. When we just want to be better than the deer we're hunting. That's it. That's all I want to do.
Right.
I could give a shit whether someone thinks I'm a good hunter or not. You know what I mean? But I want to beat the deer that I'm hunting. I don't give a shit if another guy kills a buck that's 40 inches bigger than me. That doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with my life at all and what I'm trying to accomplish. You know, am I happy for that guy? Of course, I'm jacked for that dude. You know what I mean? I'm sure he put in work. He was out there. He got it done on a giant. Awesome. But that does not stipulate how good or bad a hunter I am because he got it done. It has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. It's the situation for that deer to be like the deer I'm hunting. The odds are just not there. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're hunting different types of ground. You're hunting a different state, maybe a different time of year. So when people chalk themselves up to, well, man, this guy got it done. Why can't I get it done? You can't do that. You have to do it off of the deer that you're hunting. That deer could be coming to a bait site, and he could have killed that deer. That deer could have been on cam for 30-plus days, and he had all the intel. He could be a really good hunter and put the pieces together and got it done off 2 trail cam pics. You have no idea the context of the story, you know what I mean? So we're the same way. We just want to beat the damn deer that we're after.
Yeah.
You know, if you kill a buck, props to you, dude. You can be a better hunter than I am because I got my ass kicked this year. My ass got handed to me by the deer that we were hunting. Absolutely handed to. We had an encounter with a deer, but that wasn't good enough. It's not good enough. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't.
So, didn't feel like an accomplishment.
Yeah,
everybody was like, "Oh man, that's a huge accomplishment." I'm like, "No, that deer should be dead." That's the accomplishment we were after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the amount of work that we put in, we were like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen. We're gonna kill Crisscross or Magnum. That's the 2 I wanted. Mm-hmm. One or the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if that one of the other 2 bucks came by, cool. But I wanted the deer that I had encounters with, you had the history with, make it cooler. You know what I mean? For me.
For sure.
So
I'm going to add in one more here is you get to, if you get it done on a buck you're targeting, hopefully you can use some of that intel for future big deer. You've obviously seen the deer, and I feel like, and everybody says this, you get to learn so much more when you see them, and that's kind of why we are transitioning a lot of our cams to video mode. You get to learn so much more about the deer, and you can put that in your memory bank if you get to keep hunting that place, that spot, that area of what the deer did. And if another giant shows up, chances are going to be doing some sort of the same shit.
yeah. I don't know how many people, like, especially this shotgun season, I was reading through the people that were, successful.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the old corner stand or something, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
just, you got this stand that's just consistently good. There's a reason why it's good. And as long as nothing changes in the area, like more pressure, the neighbor starts accessing something weird, the spot's going to be solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might not kill there every year, but you're probably going to see a buck there during the rut. If you normally see a buck there during the rut.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right. And if you guys listen to the last episode of, we're talking wind direction, we're talking location, direction, where'd he come from, other intel, if you guys are breaking it down like that, then, you already have all that intel for the next big deer that moves in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, this deer, that last big deer I killed, he liked to move on a south through this draw. You know what I mean? And he daylighted in this area on the 3rd of November. Probably a hot doe over there. You know what I mean? Or he's with this doe. The 5th of November. You got to think, well, that doe's probably still alive. You know what I mean? Good chance she's alive. So shit all ties together year after year. And that's why you see people be consistent on properties year after year after year. Because once you figure the damn thing out, if it doesn't change, just like my private piece, I could walk in there and sit in that stand and just know that I'm about to have an awesome hunt. Like I might not kill, but I'm going to have a really solid hunt.
Yeah. I was just going to say, at the high fence, I guarantee there's a giant in there working the piece on a southwest wind.
Yep.
Just what Freeze did.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
It's going to happen.
He's only going to go on there on a southwest.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the best way they can use that property to their advantage. And if the neighbor to the north hunted a lot, it's going to push the deer back into the corner. If he doesn't hunt a lot, they're going to be up in the front. It's like you work with what you got. If you notice the neighbor's hunting a lot, you automatically go to the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he hasn't been out there at all, you go to the front.
Gonna be in the front.
What I mean? Like you just learn that stuff over time and it pieces together. So killing a deer can give you so much intel of
what big deer do
what
there.
big deer do there. Yeah, when you see the deer, whether you kill him or not, that's when you learn, like, well, shit, I see 90% of the deer cross the fence here, but he crossed down here. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like when we seen Magnum last year, we had a pretty good idea of what he was doing. We were talking with the other guys. I had a pretty good idea of what he's doing. I know we seen him on a hot doe, but we know he's on that ridge.
he's in the hot corner.
He's in the hot corner.
The hot corner is where we need to go.
Yeah. And this year, when we seen him, we're like, okay, this is what he's doing. He's pretty much doing the same shit.
You get that second encounter where you had the first one, and that wasn't enough to be like, hey, dipshit, you need to be over here. And then you see it do it again. You're like, all right, I know, I got it now, man. I got it.
Yeah.
But then it's too late. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
it's too late.
Way too late.
You know what I mean? So seeing one giant do something, damn good chance another one's going to do the same thing. Unless something's weird, he's chasing a doe or neighbor bumped him or some weird shit like that.
Yeah.
X that all out. Just normal deer doing deer stuff. That's it. So, all right. Way more cons than pros.
Way more
Well,
cons.
another pros is you have a giant on your wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kill a giant deer. If you're targeting the biggest buck, most of the time people target the biggest buck of their life or the biggest buck they got. You know what I mean? So another pro is you got a big ass buck that year, which is what everybody wants to do.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You got it done. Or maybe it's not the biggest buck, but maybe you got the most mature deer on your farm. You killed a mature deer. Like that's something I'm not on that level yet. That's another talk about the stages of hunting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to kill a big deer. Like I don't care if he's 3. I don't care if he's 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm about I want to kill a solid rack deer. And I'm not proud. Like I'm proud enough to say that. You know what I mean? I'm not like
yeah.
I don't have to say,
right
well, I'm
there
only
with you.
killing 5-year-olds.
You're in the trophy stage.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm in the trophy
that's where
stage.
we're at.
You know what I mean?
Where
That's
we're
where I'm at. One day I might be at the mature stage. I'm not going to pass a 147-year-old to kill a 163-year-old. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm just I'm in the big deer game. If a 7-year-old or a 3-year-old come out and they're big, they're dead. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yeah, okay. I was like, you said that way too fast for me to comprehend if you said it right.
Probably not. Half the shit I say is messed up. All right, so cons. It's time consuming as hell.
It is time consuming.
When you start picking and prodding in a certain area, the time that you normally so you got like eight cams. That's like a normal amount, I think. 6-8 cams is like what a lot of guys run. That's what I ran before I got crazy into it. Like so you got 6-8 cams. They're spread out. They're normally in pretty easy places to get. You go to a stand, you pull 2, you go here. When you're targeting a buck, you might have 10 in 100 acres, and you might, instead of being like, this spot was solid, last year. I'm keeping this cam here. You might be like, damn, if I move this cam 25 feet over there, I'm going to get him. So everything is more complex instead of, I'm just after a buck. I know there's a buck in this area last year, so I'm going to run this cam here. They got a pretty good chance of catching a deer. Now you're trying to find one deer, you know what I mean? So you're like 50 yards, and we've seen it. 50 yards is 50 yards can be make or break on a trail cam of what you got going on in that area. It seems dumb. 50 yards is huge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the trail cam game, you know what I mean? So you might have 2 at 50, you know, and then you got one over here, you got one over there, you know what I mean?
If you're really trying to pin the damn thing down, 50 yards is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. You know what I mean? Like 50 yards is whether he's there a day or not. Like
we had 3 cams 50 yards apart in a triangle.
Yeah, and he was on
one of them.
Oh, on one of them.
Coming from where the other two
on the
were.
other one, not on the other 2. And they're right, you know, you're like
how?
If you had 2 cams, you'd be like, deer ain't there. 3rd cam he's on. You're like, what the shit? Yeah. So he was here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the West Side was there on the 10th.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I was going to backing everything up.
He was?
He was there on the 10th.
Of November?
Split G2 buck was there on the 9th or the 10th. 9th, 10th, or 12th. Right in there with West Side. Not with West Side, but same.
Was he on the Exodus?
Yeah, he was on
the bush cam?
No,
or the one in the back?
The top.
The top?
Yeah.
The top stake cam by that scrape?
Oh, no. On the west, where he should be.
Oh.
Yeah, the split 2 buck.
Yeah.
On the west.
Okay.
Yeah, they were there 10 days after season started.
Huh.
Yeah. But only on that cam. Didn't hit the mobile.
Yeah.
You know, like not over there and then
so October
not across
10th.
the creek. Yeah. West Side was there October 10th.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking November 10th on the
Oh,
back.
no.
I was confused. I was jacked for a second. I'm like, sucker's still alive. That deer's like 9 years old. I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's normal conversation right there for us. Homie telling me something, me not understanding, him breaking it down really in depth, me still not knowing exactly what's going on, but just saying, yeah. All right. Failure. This is the worst one, I think. You could kill a buck and it not be that buck because you get your heart set on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You get your heart set on that deer and you're thinking about, man, if I could just get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like we're a 2 buck state, and like we've done for the last 5 years, kill a solid buck, and then you're chasing a magnum.
Yeah,
you're chasing an absolute giant, chasing a deer with a 19-inch drop time.
Yeah, you're passing,
and then you're passing deers that would be a mid 150,
yeah,
be your biggest buck or whatever.
You're
you
like,
know what I mean?
I can't do it.
You're just like, no, I already got my solid buck, so I'm good there.
Yeah.
And now you could have a phenomenal season and knock down a 160.
Yeah.
But you passed it for the mid 180 with the 19-inch drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just going to have to learn to live with that.
Yeah. That's something that when I had my private piece, I learned to be like, okay, yeah, this is what it's going to be. I'm not going to double buck. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
unless it's on
the
one.
The one that I want. Once I killed the first one, I got the edge off. I had a successful year. I got a buck down. Now I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this year's completely different. I'm just begging for something that's edge and decent to come out. You know what I mean? The edge of like, shit, I don't know, dead. You know what I mean?
I would say the decision making is getting less and less.
Like every buck on camp, shooter. Before you'd be like, shit, needs a year, shooter. You know what I mean?
Shooter.
Like, you go to the public game, I'm like, no.
I'm ready to rip.
Yeah, I'm ready to kill something.
But, just like we say, you spend all this time and effort trying to get a buck down, let alone the buck, and the chances of you not getting it done are probably better than you getting it done in most scenarios.
Yeah, way better. You know what I mean? Because you got to think about, if you just play hunting as an odds, so say you had a chance of 10 deer, that you, on all your properties that potentially you could shoot. That's including your shooters and then your random bucks that might show up. And you take that to 1, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just took your percents to
Your chance
10%,
of shooting
you know
one
what
of
I
the
mean?
10,
Yeah.
and then it being the one in the 10.
Yeah. You know what I mean? One of the 10 is hard enough, but then the right one out of the 10, that's just so much harder. That's why, like, when we have Heath on and he talks about how he consistently kills what
The
he
buck.
wants every year, that's next level stuff that I'm definitely not at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So the next one is another. Oh well, I skipped one there. We'll go back. It's going to be mentally draining.
Yeah.
You're going to be out there, and if you guys are like me, when I'm in the stand, I am playing the hunt out, like the encounter. I'm playing the encounter out, and I'm like, all right, I've had him on cam back here. He's probably bedded over here. He's going to hit this edge. He's going to walk right where he should be. 18-yard shot. And I
do
just
that.
play that over
Yeah, I
and
do
over
that.
and
I do
over.
that like every odds of where he might come. Okay, what am I going to do if he comes this way? How am I going to draw? When am I going to draw? You're thinking about it. Oh, like
Yeah.
at the situation in the tree. You know
And
what I
that's
mean?
one hunt.
And
that's
especially if you're hunting as many different trees as we've hunted, like every situation, you're like, okay, I'm in a new tree. What's my ranges? That bush is 30. You know, you got to keep reminding yourself because in that moment, you're going to be like, oh, shit, what's that bush? What is that bush?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I was out there on the kill tree. It was on where we did kill. It was there's 3 bushes right
Yeah,
in a row. It was
yeah.
20, 34.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
all right, sweet.
Yeah. They were like 42, 33. They were like a
Yeah.
little off. You're like, 20, 34. That's all I got to remember right
Yep,
there.
yep. So yeah, it's just if you play it out and then it just doesn't happen, and now you're 10 hunts in, you're 15 hunts in, you're
And
30
then every
hunts in.
hunt, you're adding data from trail cams or encounters, and then your brain is consumed with wind direction, temp. How'd he come through there? Oh, he's on this cam. Then he's on this cam. You're trying to piece them together, and you're drawing an imaginary line of the route that you. This
Yeah.
deer is just not on the route that you pit. You know, in
No,
your mind, he's
no.
doing some dumb shit out there, guaranteed that. But in your mind, you're like, okay, he went there, so he had to go through here. You're trying to put the pieces together, and it just eventually you're like, screw this deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you get to a point where you're like, ugh.
My personal favorite is you sit all day, you get to the truck, and he's on trail cam, on mobile cam,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, that's the best.
Like that's mentally exhausting.
Yeah, that happened to me. You sit all day. What, I see a doe and a decent
Yeah,
8-pointer.
you've seen shit.
Yeah.
Seen
I was
shit.
like, I do not know why I'm not seeing deer right now. Get to the truck, giant. I'm like, drop tine giant too. I was like, oh, come on, man. Never even seen a drop tine on this property. And there he is, right there, 15 yards.
So it is more of a mental struggle than just going out there, enjoying the hunt. And I that's another one I could put down is, it can take away from the enjoyment of hunting.
Yeah.
Because you're out there, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself because it's the one that you want. And
The intensity is high.
the buildup is.
You know what I mean? Like when we had that encounter with him, the next hunts were like the anticipation is high. Like you're like, okay, we know he's in this area. We already seen him. If he does the same thing again, dude, the deer's dead.
Yeah.
So you're like the whole time, you're like on a whole nother level. And then when you're on that level and you bang something or you mess up or the wind switches, it is just soul crushing. You know, in your mind,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, I was going to kill him, but now I'm a dipshit. You know what I mean? Like the level of small things
I would say
becoming
minuscule
huge.
things
Yeah.
get blown out.
Yeah. Because you're in a different game. You know
Like
what I mean?
you're climbing up the tree, you bump a guy's bow to him, and he's ripping your ass.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Dude can't wait 3 seconds, you know what I mean? I'm trying to pull up these damn antlers
Oh, dude, is that
that
what
I
you were
carried
doing?
around. Yeah, they're all tangled up in that trash-ass bow rope.
Yeah.
Dark as shit. Shitty-ass tree. Branches everywhere because you can't trim shit.
Everywhere.
And I'm trying to pull these giant-ass rattle answers up that I've been carrying around for 7 days. And we rattled 3 times in 7 days. I mean, like, no freaking reason to have them. I'm like, gotta get him in the tree. Gotta get
And
him
you're
in the
trying
tree.
to do it quiet as
No,
hell.
you're trying to do
it's
it quiet
out.
Yeah. And then the guy's Right. The tree is so close. This tree is so messed up. When you're climbing up, you're in the other guy's asshole getting in the other stand. You know what I mean? Your face is on his ass. Then you got 2 backpacks. You got all the camera shit. It's just too much stuff. The bow hooks. Getting a bow hook in, 2 guys in a tree. If you're on the same tree, there's not enough room for 2 bow hooks. It's just
and hooks for bags.
If you put your bag, it's gonna be in a shooting spot for him. I guarantee it. You know what I mean? So tensions get high, especially when you're like, okay, this deer is gonna be here like 2 minutes from sunrise. You know what I mean? Like after the sun comes up, shooting light, he's gonna be here in 2 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and you're already 2 miles in. You know, so you already put all the effort to get back there.
and then you just blow out the spot.
And then you just blow out the spot. You're like, damn it. You know what I mean?
So, cat and mouse, you know, you're thinking about where he's going to be and if you can safely hunt there. So you're trying to be
That's the ass kicker.
Yeah, you're trying to be where he's at.
You're like, man, if I could just get in there, but I can't get in there. Like when we went across the ridge, we literally were like, oh, yeah, we're in the spot. Doe starts blowing. Complete opposite direction of what the wind's supposed to be doing. Yeah. And then you look at the wind, you're like, the wind's doing some funky shit right here. You know what I mean? So you put all the work to get there, and then you're like, well, shit, I can't even hunt here. Because if he does come in, he's going to come in from that way probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's going to wind you, and that's the last thing you want. You know what I mean? So that's the worst.
You're trying to. I have this down later in the thing, but you're almost overthinking the shit.
Yeah.
All the variables, you're starting to overthink.
You're taking calculated risk by how much time you got to hunt the deer, where you think he's going to be. You're overthinking like, is this too risky? Am I going to screw it up? And then if you hunt and you don't see the deer, you automatically screwed it up. You're like, shit, exactly. He winded me. He was, you know what I mean?
I was too loud coming in.
And he's a mile away. You know what I mean? So, that.
Yeah, just the cat and mouse game. I mean, I know that's the biggest portion probably of it all. And it could be the most frustrating.
It is the best part.
Because if you are hunting, you want to see deer while you're hunting.
Yeah.
If you don't see the deer, that's fine. But eventually you're going to want to encounter him. Mm-hmm. We have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
But when we do, we have to kill. Like that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
We can't see the deer 3 times, or we don't have the property or the amount of space to
chase after the deer.
Yeah.
You get to a fence private. And you're there. You know what I mean?
But just that, when you're not seeing them and you're throwing all these hunts in there, you're just like, shit, you know, I'm trash.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know how many times I say that. I'm an absolute trash hunter.
I'm trash.
That should have been the name of No Picnic.
Yeah.
Trash man or some shit.
There's always
Taking
next
the trash out. Yeah. There's always next year. That's the best name for that series. Scratch everything out. There's always next year. That's the name of the podcast now. Whitetail Legacy gone. Always next year. Hey, guys, listen to Always Next Year. We don't kill shit. Oh.
All right. So we'll just say October's gone. You know, now you're getting into the rut. You can be a little more risky, usually. So now you might be hunting in unfavorable
30-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, in unfavorable conditions.
Rain. Sideways ass rain and 30-mile-an-hour winds. Never know. You never know. You know what I mean? You get in the mentality that late in your game. I gotta be here. It's absolutely brutal. And then what you don't realize is you're just ruining yourself for tomorrow.
Yeah,
because tomorrow morning comes after you just sat out there for 5 hours in the rain. You're like, shit. It's cold out. You know what I mean?
2 years ago, we froze our ass off.
Yeah.
Skipped the next morning hunt.
Daylight.
Yeah.
Absolute
right
froze our balls off. Didn't see hardly any deer.
No.
And then we're like, okay, this is shit. Daylight. Next day, shooter on Noble. You're like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What do you do? But
and just like I was getting ready to say is you can push the wind a little bit, and sometimes now you're frustrated because October's gone. So now you haven't seen the deer or whatever, and
You want to kill in October. Like you want,
Yeah.
if you're a 2-buck state, you want to kill in October, and then you're going into November. You got a big one swinging. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, I got a buck down already. I'm doing good. Things are happening. I'm about to have a good rut. Like the season's just better when you've killed.
Yeah,
It's a different. I know it's bad to probably say that. People are like, man, these guys are savages. But if you're a serious whitetail hunter, like big deer hunter, like that's what you love to do. If you got a buck down in October, November's way better.
if you got a solid buck down,
Yeah.
like
November's like a completely different.
you're just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw 3 does, good.
Yeah, you know what I
cool.
mean? Like,
But if you haven't got it done,
yeah.
you're just like, shit. There's
Like,
another.
I gotta
hunt-
get it done.
There's
I gotta
another
get it
hunt
done.
gone.
I gotta get it done. Counting down the days.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, literally.
I got 10 good days left, and then it's gonna be shit. You know
Yeah,
what I
then I'm
mean?
back to shit.
Because for us, shotgun season, you might as well piss in the wind.
We use all the luck on one deer.
Yeah, you might as well just absolutely. I could have went to McDonald's parking lot and seen as many deer, same amount of deer.
Yeah.
all shotgun season. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just not good where we got to hunt.
So, if you are getting, frustrated and hunting a less than favorable condition, you could be tipping off that deer. You could be pushing it too much. And that's obviously not going to help anything.
Yeah, because you're in your mind, you're like, I got to kill him. I got to kill him. I got to kill him. So
Now's the time to push and
Yeah.
be aggressive, and you might push the wrong way.
yeah,
So, speaking of that, you have to be going into season, just like Cody said, you want to kill in October, but you've already contemplated the thought of failure that we talked about. You need to be thinking about the long game. Be like, okay, October's gone. I didn't see him in the rut. Now I got late season. I got some food here for him. I got a doe or two that might come in late, possibly. And you just gotta. It's a mental shift as well. You gotta know you're gonna have slower hunts if you don't have the food,
yeah.
if you don't have the bedding, if you don't have the cover. It's just gonna be part of that. But you have to. I think if you're mentally prepared going into it, then it can help you being prepared.
Yeah. When the deer herd up, there's just properties that are not good late season.
because they're not there.
Yeah. You can plant food. You can do the bedding deal. They're just not there. There's a reason that they're not there, and you can throw 15 hunts of that sun gun. The deer aren't going to be there. They just don't magically show up one day. It's just they're not there, and that's something that we have to deal with. Our small piece of private, once the crops go out, rut's over, the deer ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. There's no deer there. Does, small bucks, nothing. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
They come in there night to go across the road and do whatever they do up there. Must be popping over there, dude. Must be popping on the other side of the road.
Somewhere it's popping.
Yeah, somewhere is real solid. Got a lot of stuff for these whitetails, but probably all those cedar trees up there, thermal covered. I don't know what the hell.
Oh, you think they went that way?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm
I
thinking.
don't know. There wasn't no deer up there either.
No, everything's south. Everything's 3 miles south. But yeah, I mean, it's just you just gotta plan it out, and I feel like this is a very good time to know when you got to pull the plug. Like, you can't have a target deer and you go, okay, I've been targeting him, been trying to kill this deer 2 years. The last 2 years he hasn't been here late season, but I'm gonna hunt my ass off and maybe hope you got to have a point where you're just like, okay, I got to go somewhere else. And that's what we've done. We could be going, man, I really want to kill Chaos. I really want to kill Bud Heavy. But we're like, screw it. Pull every cam off of there. Everything. Going to public. Everything's going to public for late season. Because we know we have better odds on public, which seems as dumb, than what we do on that property. Because they're just not there. When you hunt it 2 or 3 years, you understand the same thing happened last year, the same thing happened the year before. Shit ain't going to magically change.
Yeah, and when you're making the property better over time, and the deer just ain't hanging around, they're not there to find out that they need to hang around.
They're not there to find out that you got beans there late season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you think bean field, you got a green field, we got brassicas, not even touching it. They could give 2 shits about that green field. I seen one deer take one bite out of that thing all year. That buck walked right across and went, that was it.
Yeah, the buck that walked right in front of us went 200 yards, just textbook.
Yeah.
Popped in the green field, ate for 3 minutes, gone.
Yeah. That was it.
He didn't put it in the memory bank. Just save this. I'll come back here.
No.
It's, I'll roll out.
Yeah. This place is trash, just like the people that hunt it. I don't even like these brassicas.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I think we got most of the cons covered, besides the biggest con of the whole entire deal.
Getting your ass kicked?
The biggest con of the whole entire deal is November 23rd, someone else kills the damn buck that you're after. That's the biggest con that you risk going after one of these deer.
Yeah.
Your whole season can be a waste with one dude randomly setting in one tree. And that's like, you put it all, you might as well go bet red with like 10 grand. Be like, all right, neighbors don't know this deer's alive. That's imaginary. I'm going to, you know what I mean? like, you know what I mean?
I'm the only hunter
that knows this deer's alive. I'm the only one that's going to see him all season. He's not going to run in front of some random hunter.
Deer doesn't leave
He's
my
not
25
coming out in
acres.
shotgun season at all, anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you risk all that to be able to be like, yeah, I'm only hunting this deer all year. Like that, all that is like blinders as shit. You're just running down the hallway, be like, nope, not getting killed by that dude. You know what I mean? Like, and then it happens, and then then you're just like,
and by then you're emotionally attached to this deer.
Yeah,
and you are just crushed.
All your intel is just worthless as shit. You know what I mean? You like to use this draw in the Northwest. I wait till another big one's in there and see if he does that too. Like, that's the only thing you got. Once he's dead, you're like, cool. Yeah. Pretty much.
The only thing that you could get is maybe see the deer.
Yeah.
Get some pictures from the guy who killed him to just add to your puzzle.
Yeah.
Find out where you're goofing up. Or, you know, see what the deer was doing when he shot it. Mm-hmm. You know, see if you're even in the game.
But like the dude, like Matt's buck, the guy went out, only deer he's seen, and he shot him.
Yeah.
And that was a deer that showed up like one time on cam, you know what I mean? And if he would have put all his eggs in that basket and hunted that deer, and then that guy would have just went out one time and shot him, you know what I mean? Like, shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you can't knock that guy.
No.
Because he's probably got trail cam pictures of him and stuff, you know what I mean? Or he's hunting just like everybody else is hunting. That's the biggest con of targeting one buck that you have to be cool with. Because when the shit goes down, it isn't gonna be like, well, you got, you know, the buck's not gonna be like, bro, I gave you 3 shots. Like, this other guy's gonna kill me now. That's not how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we know the feeling of standing over the deer, knowing he's not gonna be on trail cam, but somebody else being the reason that he's not gonna be on your trail cam again.
Yeah.
That's bad, bro.
Yeah, that's
bad.
You're like, damn. You know what I mean? Like,
that's when you pull everything.
Yeah. You're like, all right, screw this piece. I'm over it. You know what I mean?
out.
So that's just the biggest con that you have to be cool with, is just understanding that another person could kill that deer any day of the season.
Yeah.
And you have to roll the dice to outsmart, or in your mind tell yourself that no one knows this deer's alive. And the people that say that, everybody runs cams. There's an assload of people hunting. If you talk to anybody around here, no one's like, oh yeah, neighbors don't hunt. Like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The neighbors are running cams more than likely.
Somebody's out there.
And the people know that deer's alive. Just like Ingram's giant buck.
Yeah.
The 3 neighbors knew about that deer. And then he started talking with him. They were like swapping hunts. Like, he'd be on his property. So the guy'd be like, hey man, come over here and we'll all go after him. And then, you know, Ingram's like, all right, I got trail cam. He's on my property. So that neighbor would come hunt Ingram's property. They were like working together, which is badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
And there's one guy out there that's like, no one knows about this 170 I got hidden down here by the creek. You know what I mean? And like, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that deer's alive. You know what I mean? So that about sums up the pros and cons of what you need to really think about. And this is something that people don't talk about. I feel like I've never heard anybody break this down to where I feel like there's a lot of disappointed hunters at the end of the year that think, man, I should have just went over there and killed that solid buck instead of.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out what you want to do. So saying all that, are you going to specifically go in after Magnum if he's back and hunt his core area where you think that you can get it done, where you could still possibly kill another buck, but you're putting a lot of eggs in the basket on Magnum? What are you going to do next year?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be scared to take a break from hunting there. I'm not going to work my balls off.
If you see a buck do shit, you're going to go over there because another buck might do that. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Like, we just wasted ourselves out there. You know, I mean, we were absolutely dying.
We were in a funk for like 2 weeks after that.
Yeah. I mean, we're dying.
It wasn't just like we were tired. It was more of like discontent that you failed.
Yeah, I mean,
you failed yourself. I failed you. You failed me. Like, it's a big circle jerk of failure. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I would say my brain is finally getting back to normal here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was messed up, man. And the exhaustion part and the whole thing is, we're just pretty confident that he was on cam so much and everything. We're just like, we got all these hunts out here. And we didn't really plan for the ending.
Yeah.
And we knew it was going to be tough. It just didn't know it was going to be that tough. And before we started podcast, we were talking about, what killed us out there. And so, yes, I mean, I'm good for, 4 hunts in a row or whatever. But if I start getting, anywhere near where the hell I was, like, I'm just gonna have to back out, hit the private piece, hit 200 yards off the road or whatever, regroup my shit instead of having to regroup the whole time.
Yeah,
just regroup in a couple segments or something.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. If he's there, you can't not.
I would say you gotta be out there.
Not go in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it. The only thing I've said about that place is someone killed that damn deer, so I don't have to go back in there.
Here we are a month.
Just begging someone to just whack him with a shotgun. You know what I mean? Like, just someone send me a pic of that.
A month ago, we're like, never coming back to this place.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. But now, I mean, we're only a month out from out there.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, yeah, I'm down to go back out there a little hard if we need to.
Yeah, a little hard. Like, not like we did.
No,
you know what I mean?
that was.
But I know what's going to happen. He's just going to be like, his home range is going to shrink. He's going to be like so consistent on cam. We're going to be like, we're going in, boys! 18 days straight on public. We thought 15 was bad. We're doing 30 this year, boys. No.
I'm going to need some more vodka.
Yeah, I'm going to need new legs.
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to get with me an electric bike.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
That's the only way.
If I didn't have to bike, I hate biking.
I would bike down the Oak Flat. Like,
yeah.
I mean.
Oh, God, that'd be wicked, bro. You'd be getting like 40, 50 mile an hour down that little-ass trail we have carved through there.
Full break, bro. Let her eat.
Let her eat. Put some saws on the side of that and just cut you a swath on your way down. Oh, but yeah. I gotta go back to you. I'd risk it all. You gotta. I mean, it's tough, but I'm not going to go in there in October on bullshit weather where I know that the chances of that deer are very slim coming out, and just going in there like, oh man, I'm going in. I'm not doing that. I'm calculating my shit. I'm gonna either.
I feel like we did though, because he was there 5 days before season.
No, I'm just saying on the other buck.
Oh, you're saying like overall?
Yeah,
okay.
on the other buck. Like, I'm not going in there in October and being oh, shit, it's time to rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to kill this deer now. No, I'm not doing that. Like, if there's something that's a dead giveaway on cam, I might
I was saying, we're going to have a banger right before season or something.
Yeah, like, where you're like, oh, God, no.
I'm
not even going to run cams where I don't want to hunt. Then I won't even know what's going on. The west side, no camps. Nothing over there. Southwest is absolutely
not even parking my truck there in the summertime. Not even glassing from there. Nothing. I don't want to even see a glimpse of something. I'll be like, shit, I'm back in.
I'm going to run one cam on the west side just to see if he's alive and what he looks like, and then I'm going to pull
Northwest. You're
Yeah.
going to want it on the typical buck or west side?
west side.
Oh, I'm
West.
cool there.
Okay.
I'm cool there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm talking southwest, back in the
okay.
canyons and
Oh,
shit.
no.
Back there where we almost died.
Yeah, hell no.
You almost, like, legitimately died.
Yeah, I was really close.
You ever seen a cockaburr that looks like a human? That's what homie looked like.
It was bad.
He was 98% cockaburr, 2%
Yes.
meat. That was it.
Yeah. Left gear out over there overnight.
Yeah. So
Bad.
Yeah. I had to leave the gear overnight to get out.
Yeah.
With the rain cover. That's
Terrible.
when you know shit's bad. You're like, I'm not going to be able to make it out with this shit on my back.
No, yeah.
Gotta come back anyway.
Right. That's when it's bad.
Oh, but yeah. So, yeah, I'll go back in the bottom and give it a rip. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
going to... Southwest, I'm liking that a little more. That's easier to get to. There's not as thick. We know he likes that area. Where we got the pinch cam, but not as deep.
Yep.
I'm gonna fill that out a little more next year. Hopefully have a solid piece of private. Just go in, just easy hunt, and chill. Watch deer do deer stuff. That's going to
Yeah.
be so cool. Instead of watching them climb a 500-foot hill, you're like, what in the fuck is this deer doing? I have no idea what's going on right now. All right. Well, if you're listening to us now, we appreciate you 110% because you are our solid core base of listeners. Season is, I'm already talking to people, and they're like, I got 2 sets left, 3 sets left. You know what I mean? People are just fading out. Shotgun season's over. So if you guys are still clicking that play button, we love you so much. We appreciate you supporting this podcast. We hope you got maybe a little bit of tidbit of knowledge here, maybe something to stir around, think about. Maybe hopefully made you laugh a couple of times. The only thing that we're good at. That's it.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys. Always do the right thing. Leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.
And remember, there's always next year.
There's always next year.